So this is the practical application post for my episode titled Body Positivity with Natalie Marguerite Papini. So a couple of my big takeaways. To start off with, we were speaking through body positivity through the lens of fitness. So we spoke a lot about obesity, overweight, underweight, stuff like that. But of course this can bleed into many areas, even within fitness, whether it's race, culture, trans athletes, a lot of different things. But we mostly spoke through the realm of fitness and obesity. But again, all the strategies can apply across the board. But the biggest elephant in the room, when you hear body positivity, many people say, if we're accepting of all shapes and sizes, are we becoming complacent as a society? Are we being too accepting of potential health concerns? And body positivity is not that. Body positivity is not about becoming complacent. It's about inviting people into fitness spaces so that they can feel comfortable and not judged. I don't know about you, but if you've ever walked into a room and felt judged by the group of people in there, the first thing you want to do is leave. Even if it's one person, you're sitting across, you're having a meeting with somebody, or maybe it's someone on a date, or I don't know. The moment they start to judge you and you feel like you're being judged, you want to leave, right? And it's going to be no different for anybody else, whether overweight, underweight, whatever it is, color of your skin. You come in and you feel like you're being judged by the group and you don't want to be there. Fitness should not be, right? General fitness should not be competitive. We should be inviting to everyone. We're one big giant family, right? And we want to be accepting. The goal as a community should be to get as many people moving as possible for the sake of their health. So if we want to get everyone moving and we want to get everybody active, we have to be welcoming to everyone, right? And especially for the people that need it most. So the larger that you are, or the more underweight that you are, the more you might even need fitness, but the more you might be judged walking into a fitness space. Right? So how can we be more accepting and to the people that need to start their journey, right? So especially when it's the hardest time. Anytime you try something new, you're not gonna be that good at it. I know when I went rock climbing for the first time, or indoor rock climbing, I wasn't good, and I immediately felt like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm embarrassed. I could imagine if the whole room was judging me on top of it, I'm gonna, again, not want to be there. So the goal is to create an environment where everybody feels like they're not being judged and they can start on their journey and they can be in there. There could also be potential things that are out of their control, that no matter what they do, they might always be a little overweight or underweight, but they're still exercising for the sake of their health. So how do we get everybody, shapes, sizes, no matter what you look like, I want you to know that you can come in here and you could be a part of this fitness club, right? We're all on this fitness journey together and we got your back, come on in, right? So that's what body positivity is about. It's about encouraging people and welcoming them into spaces, especially spaces that are healthy for them and gonna help them, right? So that's number one. Number two, what we know is that self-compassion and being kind to people and being kind to yourself actually helps with productivity. Being a drill sergeant and bashing yourself down, talking badly to yourself or talking badly to someone usually doesn't work for most people. There are a couple people out there, and sometimes you see it in the martial art world, right, where they can thrive on being bashed and they just want to rise up even more and fight back in the world. But for the majority of people, compassion is what you want in order to be motivated, right? So if I treat you like my best friend, or if you treat yourself like your best friend, you're more likely to want to do these things. When there's tons of research on positive self-talk. People that talk nicely to themselves, you got this, you could do it, keep going, come on, right? They end up being more successful, or they have more success than the alternative option of saying, man, I suck, I was never good, I never should have done this, and all of that as well. All right, so it's also about how we treat ourselves and how we treat other people so that we can encourage them and motivate them. So that's a big piece as well. So the other things that we talked about is, what are some strategies if you do struggle with body positivity, and this is something that you have to overcome and a challenge you have, what are some things you can do? Two big things she mentioned, Natalie, was self-compassion, which we've been talking about already, and she mentioned selfcompassion.org. There's a bunch of different practices that you can do. And the other big thing that stood out to me was mindfulness, things like meditation or just being grounding yourself in the present moment. People that are in the present moment, whether the present moment feels good or feels bad, people that are in that present moment just tend to be happier. So what can you do to help ground yourself? Get out of your head a little bit. Breathe in the air, feel the sun on your skin, put your feet on the ground. Be in this moment right here, be in the zone. I know I mentioned rock climbing before, when I'm on the wall climbing, nothing else exists. I'm not thinking about, am I skinny, am I overweight, am I this, is my bicep big, is it not? I'm not thinking about any of those things. I'm on the wall, I'm in the zone. People that can be in the zone more, people that are in the present moment more, tend to feel better and tend to feel better about themselves. So, another big piece she mentioned was body neutrality. So meaning even if there's something that you don't like about yourself, at least being neutral about it and not bashing it, right? So you don't always have to love it. You don't have to say how amazing this thing is about you, right? So I'll give you all a vulnerable one. My nose is a little bit crooked, right? So for a while that used to bother me. Now my father said it gives me character, right? Because it's martial arts, I got hit in the martial arts, but the story is actually not even that cool of a story. It was me hitting myself. Yep. I went to do a flip or a kick or something. I was doing something acrobatic while kicking or whatever, and I ended up kneeing my own nose, and I think from there it was never straight again. Because for a while I didn't like it, and no matter what you would tell me, it doesn't matter what I would say, I didn't love it. It was something that would bother me about myself. And but there could still be this neutral piece. I don't have to hate it. I could be neutral. And I like that piece that she mentioned there. If there's something about your own body that you don't necessarily like, you don't always have to love it, but at the very least, try your best not to hate it. And definitely don't say those words to yourself. Even if you do feel like you hate it, don't say you hate it. Start to speak kindly to yourself. Treat yourself like a best friend. Say, hey, it's not as bad as you think, or maybe it does give you some character, or there might be another way to look at this, or at the very least, let's be neutral and try not to judge it in a harsh way. So, the last big piece. So she mentioned health at every size movement, the health at every size movement, and in there she talked about this idea of focusing on behaviors rather than the weight loss itself. And I love that because you're thinking about the behavior which is within your control, whereas the weight loss is out of your control. So focus less on the outcomes, and that's a general principle in life. Focus, you still want to have your outcomes and you want to set goals, but don't overemphasize and don't focus on them too much. Focus more on the behavior that I can do right here, right now. And that brings the control back and the ball back into your court. When I was doing the martial arts and I was competing, that was a strategy I used all the time. There's tons of things. There's the crowd that's screaming and yelling, the opponent that maybe looks big and scary, but there's all these different things that could get in your head a bit. And then you have to think, okay, those are all distractions, and I'm not going to think about any of those things, or anytime they pop in my head, I'm going to redirect my attention somewhere else. And where am I going to direct my attention? I'm going to direct it to the things I can control, and those are my behaviors. For example, maybe a breathing exercise, and I'm going to use that to center myself in this moment. But when it comes to weight loss, or even weight gain, or whatever it may be, think about the behaviors that are in your control and focus on those behaviors. Focus on them today. That's something that you can change right here, right now. And worry a little bit less about the outcome. Still have it as a goal, but don't give it too much attention. So those are a couple of my big takeaways from that episode. Natalie helped to really get me thinking in ways that I haven't before. So check out the episode. There's a lot of gems in there, and I hope to catch you all soon.